The most terrifying thing about Dagestani fighters isn't their strength, but that they seem tireless. You might hit them in the first few minutes, but the longer the fight lasts, the stronger they get, while their opponents slowly exhaust. What is it that created such people? If you look at the history of modern MMA, there is a phenomenon that has left the whole world in awe. A land of only about 3 million people, tucked between the rugged Caucasus Mountains, continuously produces an MMA champions. From Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev to Usman Nurmagomedov, they all share one thing in common. They don't just win, they make their opponents feel helpless. Many believe the secret lies in a special exercise or a hidden training regimen, but from the perspective of sports science, that reflects only a tiny part of the story. From the channel's perspective, Dagestan's power doesn't start in the gym, it starts from the environment itself. Imagine growing up at an altitude of over 1,800 meters above sea level. Thinner air means that every breath carries less oxygen. This forces the body to adapt by improving oxygen transport, increasing cardiovascular efficiency, and building endurance over time. Today, many Olympic athletes spend tens of thousands of dollars to go to mountain training centers for a few weeks. Meanwhile, for Dagestani children, training at high altitude is simply a part of daily life. But altitude is only one piece of the puzzle. What is even more interesting is the terrain. Steep paths, rugged mountain slopes, and long walking distances make every step a natural workout. As the body constantly balances on uneven ground, stabilizing muscle groups like the deep core, gluteus medius, lower back, and ankles work nearly all day. That is exactly what science calls functional strength. Unlike generating force on a fixed exercise machine, functional strength helps the body control movement in real-world environments. This is also why many Dagestani fighters possess incredible balance, even when being pulled, pushed, or taken down. A study in biomechanics shows that the more multiplanar movements the body must process, the better the nervous system learns to recruit motor units simultaneously. This not only helps generate greater force but also allows for faster reactions to unexpected situations. In other words, they aren't just building muscle, they are training their nervous system. And that is the very first foundation for creating warriors that the whole world must respect. If their environment is the foundation, their training philosophy is what turns a mountain boy into a world-class fighter. Interestingly, they do not view training as simply building muscle. For them, every session is a process of mastering body control, maintaining pressure, and pushing through fatigue. That is why many people trying this style for the first time don't find it too heavy, but feel completely drained after just a few rounds. From a sports science perspective, this is completely grounded in reality. For most of a wrestling or MMA match, the body doesn't operate at maximum capacity continuously. Instead, it's a series of short bursts alternating with phases of sustained pressure and control. Therefore, the energy systems determining performance aren't just the phosphagen system for instant power, but also the coordination between the glycolytic and aerobic systems for rapid recovery between efforts. Put simply, a strong fighter is not someone who can just deliver one explosive move. They must be capable of repeating that intensity dozens of times with almost no decline in quality. This is the distinct difference in how they build their physical conditioning. Instead of rigidly separating strength, cardio, and technical training, many of their exercises combine them all into a single sequence of movements. When you carry a heavy sandbag up a hill, you're not just training your legs. Your forearms must grip tightly to hold the weight, your core constantly stabilizes your spine, your upper back resists slouching, and your heart and lungs work at full capacity to supply oxygen. Nearly your entire body engages in a single task, which is what scientists call integrated movement. Instead of isolating individual muscle groups, the body learns to coordinate multiple muscle chains simultaneously, similar to what happens in sports and real life. Another factor that is often overlooked is grip strength. If you watch Dagestani fighters compete, you will see that they rarely let go of their opponents once they have established a position. The secret lies not only in technique but also in the ability to maintain a grip for a very long time. Exercises like dead hangs, towel pulls, or carrying heavy objects create significant pressure on the forearms and the hand flexors, while stimulating the nervous system to increase force recruitment. Many studies also show that grip strength is linked to overall health, mobility in old age, and even longevity. This shows that seemingly simple exercises carry value that goes far beyond competitive goals. From this channel's perspective, this is also a lesson that many modern gym goers can learn from. We often spend too much time chasing numbers on machines or muscle size in the mirror, but pay little attention to whether our bodies are truly capable in daily movements. A healthy body isn't just one with big biceps, it's a body that can lift, pull, carry, climb, balance, and continue to function effectively even when fatigued. That is the very definition of functional strength that the Dagestanis have quietly built for generations. And once you understand that philosophy, the next question is how to apply it to our own lives without having to live in the mountains or become a professional fighter. In the next section, we will build a training program inspired by Dagestan using just a few simple tools, but enough to develop strength, endurance, and body control in the most practical way. The best thing about the Dagestani philosophy is that you don't need to live in the mountains, nor do you need to be an MMA fighter to learn from them. What is truly valuable is not copying Khabib's every workout, but understanding the underlying principles and adjusting them to fit your own body and goals. If we have to summarize that spirit into one workout, from our channel's perspective, it will revolve around 7 foundational movement patterns. The first is hill running or walking uphill. This is an exercise that helps develop leg strength, explosiveness, and cardiovascular endurance all at once. When running on an incline, the foot's ground contact time is longer, forcing the glutes, hamstrings, and calves to exert more force than running on flat ground. At the same time, the cardiovascular system must work harder to meet oxygen demand, creating superior efficiency while reducing pressure on the knee joints compared to flat ground sprinting. Next is lifting and carrying heavy objects like sandbags, heavy sacks, or rice bags. This is one of the most comprehensive forms of functional training. Unlike barbells with a fixed center of gravity, sandbags constantly change shape when moved. This forces the stabilizer muscles around the shoulders, spine, and hips to continuously adjust to maintain balance. It is this instability that stimulates the nervous system to learn how to coordinate the entire body more effectively. The third exercise is the bear crawl, moving on both hands and feet. It sounds simple, but this is an exercise that requires coordination between the shoulders, hips, and core. By keeping your back stable throughout the movement, you are training your ability to transfer force between the upper and lower body. An extremely important factor in every sport, from martial arts to soccer or running. After that is the sprawl, a familiar movement in wrestling and MMA. Not only does it help improve reflex speed and explosive power, but the sprawl is also a high-intensity exercise that increases anaerobic endurance. After just a few dozen seconds of continuous execution, you will clearly feel your heart rate spike and your breathing become labored. This is a sign that your body is being challenged in both your muscular and cardiovascular systems. Don't overlook towel pull-ups or hanging from a bar. When replacing the bar with a towel, your grip strength must increase significantly to support your body. This not only improves forearm strength but also enhances shoulder control and joint stability. For beginners, hanging for just 20 to 30 seconds per set already provides many benefits for shoulder and spinal health. If you organize these exercises into a circuit, you can perform each for 30 to 45 seconds, rest about 15 to 20 seconds to switch, then rest 90 seconds after completing the full round. Beginners should start with 2 to 3 rounds, while those with a fitness base can increase to 4 or 5 rounds depending on their ability. The most important thing is not the speed of increasing training volume, but maintaining correct technique and steady progress week by week. However, there is one thing we want to emphasize: do not idolize any single training method. Dagestan creates champions not just because they run up hills or carry stones. That success is the result of decades living in a unique environment, nurtured by wrestling culture, discipline, and a consistent training system from a very young age. That is also the perspective this channel always wants to share. There is no magic exercise that makes you invincible in just a few weeks. What makes the difference is always the right principles repeated for long enough. When you prioritize natural movements, develop functional strength, improve nervous system coordination, and persistently enhance your fitness bit by bit, your body will change in a much more sustainable way than just chasing short-term trends. You may never step into a UFC octagon, but a stronger, more resilient body, one that carries loads easily, climbs stairs without getting winded, and maintains movement quality as you age, that is the victory anyone can achieve. If you found the principles in this video helpful and would like us to continue analyzing popular training methods from a scientific perspective, don't forget to like the video to support the channel, share it with those who want to build strength intelligently and sustainably, and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. Thank you for joining the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.